Bitcoin 2024? Where do you think we end up?
I look, I think 150 is in the bag, and I'm just going to stick with that. I think we're going to 150, and I think there could be a positive above that if things go as I think they are going to go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Yusko discuss about Bitcoin. According to Yusko, in 2024, we will have the ability to extract fair value from 51, 52. Let's just round it to the nearest 50 or 100. At 100, we get the start of June. Saw the crypto parabolic move, autumn, allowing us to go from the summer of cryptocurrency migration toward reasonable value for the parabolic from all of the people in the pool. And as Yusko already stated, Yusko believe the system has less leverage. Thus, perhaps in this cycle, we only receive 1.5 fair values, rather than that max is at 2.3, and those guys are at 250, or whatever range Yusko most likely in, depending only on supply and demand. In the 150 range, well, in addition to the halving, changing and supply that is readily available, typical supply shock gives way to this demand shock, which is occurring on January 8th. They are going to crown the king, and right now, Yusko's starting to lose strength on BlackRock. Yusko been persuaded by only folks that enough is happening for a few others to be accepted, but Yusko still believe they will provide a head start of at least a few days. Perhaps, however, it's possible that they perform them all. Yusko not sure, but January 8th is the day you know that the king was born, the birthday of the small guy my 12-year-old will turn 13. Therefore, they will validate the ETF, and tens of billions of dollars will be invested in it in that first week or so, and eventually hundreds of billions, and lots of things Yusko discuss. So please watch the video to end. And share this video, and subscribe our channel, Everyday Finance. Thanks.
This is the year. This is the year I've been talking about. This is crazy. I've been talking about this. I went back and I searched through Twitter to find when I started talking about this. I've actually been talking about this since 2018, which is hard to believe. That's 6 years ago. I mean, that's a long, but I've been talking about this cycle, this 14-year cycle that people are just sick of hearing about. But now it's here. I mean, we're days. We're a couple days away from 2024. And 2024 is the beginning. And this first year, 2024, we've got the halving, which takes the fair value from 51, 52. Let's just round it to 50 to 100. Okay. So 100. Then we get the beginning in June of the parabolic move of crypto fall. So we transition from crypto summer, which is that migration toward fair value, to the parabolic, oh my God, FOMO, everybody in the pool. And I've said this time, I think there's less leverage in the system. So maybe we only get 1.5 fair value in this cycle instead of the 2.3. That's max, and those guys are at 250, whatever. I'm probably in the 150 range. That's just on supply and demand of the halving and the change and the available supply. Well, then, in addition to the normal supply shock, we get this demand shock. And it's happening. January 8th, they will crown the king. Now, I'm weakening a little bit on BlackRock only. People have convinced me that there's enough going on that a few others are going to get approved. I still think they're going to give at least a couple day head start, maybe. But maybe they do them all. I don't know. But on January 8th, that is the day. The king's birthday, my little guy's birthday, my 12-year-old turns 13. So that's they're going to approve the ETF, and tens of billions of dollars are going to flow into it in that first week or so. And then ultimately hundreds, plural, of billions. that could, I can't even put a number on what that could do, because we only trade $8 billion a day. And there's a whole bunch of people who've said they're not selling. I can't think of an asset. I really can't think of an asset where you had both a supply shock and a demand shock at the same time. I mean, I really can't. Other than oil, maybe in the 70s, maybe.
Mark Yusko predict Bitcoin will reach 150, and that there may be a positive above that if events unfold, as Mark Yusko anticipate they will. If they reject GBTC, there are a few things that Yusko simply cannot predict. Converting correctly, Barry was forced to step down. Why? Was he the subject of an investigation? Perhaps similar to CZ, they leave you and the remainder of the company when you resign by themselves. That's a strange result, so perhaps that indicates they are going to mean that if they disapproved of the conversion of GBTC, then those 25 billion selling pressure correctly, which needed to be transformed into the BlackRock fund, and so that would moderate the demand appropriately as there would only be a trade. But if they do permit, there is greater pressure on the upside because people don't have to sell that conversion and fees are just declining. Let's back to the Mark Yusko interview.
Look, I think 150 is in the bag, and I'm just going to stick with that. I think we're going to 150, and I think there could be a positive above that if things go as I think they are going to go. There are a couple of things that I just can't predict. Like if they don't approve GBTC converting, right? Barry had to resign. Why did Barry have to resign? Is he under investigation? Is he not? I mean, maybe like CZ, you resign and they leave you the rest of the company alone. I don't know, but that's a weird outcome. So maybe that means they are gonna. So if they didn't approve GBTC converting, then that 25 billion was going to be selling pressure, right? That was going to have to get converted into the BlackRock fund. And so that would temper the demand, right? Because there'd be just a swap. Whereas if they do allow that conversion and the fees just go down and people don't have to sell that, that puts more pressure on the upside. So I can't predict that one because I don't have any inside baseball on Gigi's view on Barry and Michael. So I'm going to stick with 150.
To me.
Yeah. The thing that I can't, well, I'm struggling for the words here, but I can explain it rationally, but there's part of me that says, no, there should be something else in the formula, in the difficulty adjustment, because the fact that the block rewards get cut in half means the price has to double or the miners are done, right? Because the miners adjust, the costs adjust to the price and they buy more equipment and they're running not at monster profits. But, and so if you look at all the previous cycles, the fair value doubled. Well, but isn't the difficulty adjustment supposed to? But I don't think it can. And I think, and so just that alone, right? Just the thought in people's brain that suddenly this is not a $50,000 asset, it's a $100,000 asset, I think could trigger a level of FOMO, partly because at some point we just got to go to Satoshi's, I think, personally. Like, I don't want to be Berkshire Hathaway and have this unattainable price. And because the average person should understand that you can buy a fractional piece, but they don't really understand. They just hear the Bitcoin price. I would much prefer to talk in Satoshis. And so then there's enough for everybody. Like right now, 21 million Bitcoin. Someone did the calculation. It's like 0.00128 Bitcoin per person in the world. Now, not everyone in the world is going to have some. I mean, just not, because there's a bunch of people without electricity and all kinds of other, but that's a really small number for just the average person to just, although I take that back, right? People buy Doge at 0.00000, whatever it is, or Shiba, maybe Shiba, this point, like 7 decimal points of zeros. Like, just split that so you get a real number?
According to Mark Yusko, BlackRock rewards are halved. The price must either double, or because the miners adjust, the expenses adjust, the miners are done correctly to the cost. They get additional equipment, and they operate at a profit that isn't monstrous, but if you look in every cycle prior to this one, the fair value increased nicely. But isn't the difficulty adjustment meant to do that? Yusko said, in my opinion, that alone, that is, the idea that suddenly occurred to people. This asset is worth $100,000, not $50,000. If you learned something from this video, then please like this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, and we will meet in next video. Thanks.